Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Life Choices podcast.
Yeah!
Welcome back, everybody, to our season 2 here on the Life Choices podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you all to my lifers who have been watching us through season 1. We're going to get right into it today with our guest, who some of you may recognize, Daryle Moiles. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Quick reminder to everybody about what you do for a living for the new viewers that we have out here on YouTube.
Yeah, so basically I am the vice president for Robert Irvine on Food Network. He has Restaurant Impossible, and we do a lot of military work. Probably half the year of our time is spent with military. I just got back from Germany and a couple other places with him, cooking for the troops on 4th of July. And, he has multiple businesses, so I'm part of pretty much all of those at some level.
So you're a pretty busy human being. You're running around different countries and states and all that constantly. Travel is definitely in your back pocket.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I like you, I think we talked about this on the last season, but the map, just keep putting those little needles up there.
Exactly.
Where am I going to next, and where do I want to go?
Yeah. I mean, I want to go everywhere. That map looks like it's been busy, but yet the percentage of the whole world is very, very limited for what I've actually done. Over 50 countries, but the goal in life is to hit as many countries as possible that are safe to go to, obviously, or that I'm allowed to go to, and just keep creating content for everybody.
That's the thing, is being allowed to go to nowadays.
Yeah.
I'd love to have everything wide open and be able to go anywhere. But it seems like everybody wants to take over something and then restrict things. So,
which is unfortunate because as we're given what I would say limited time, because we don't know how much time any one of us actually has on Earth.
Right.
It's unfortunate that it's not easily done for everybody because of finances, and then taking time off work and whatnot. Travel is what everyone believes is a great thing to do. It's a great educator, but it's not accessible to everybody, which is a shame.
Right. The earnings nowadays too, it's becoming harder and harder to travel. Everything costs more money. Even the travel costs more money.
Absolutely.
But you're not earning enough nowadays to make those dreams happen, those trips happen, to see, to get educated, to see more, to meet other people and see what other economies are like for a brief moment. There's just the opportunities. I look at my kids, the opportunities that they have really only come from myself and their mom, and hopefully they can achieve, some good careers later on. They're in their 20s right now, but
they're in the prime of get shit done because they have the ability to bounce back. They have the ability to absorb more.
Yep.
They can survive on less hours of sleep than we can currently. Not that we get a lot of sleep anyways, because we're so busy with everything we do. But that's a good point. When I first went over to Asia years ago, I think it was like $800 for like a premium economy, and I've been looking now for my next trip back, and it's 18 to almost $2,000 just for the premium economy.
Right.
Talking about your children, they are in a time in which it's a bit interesting because we grew up pretty much being told, get a job.
Right.
It wasn't get multiple, it was get a job. Nowadays, it seems like everybody needs to have 2 or 3 side hustles to earn enough money to go do things.
Including myself. I have a side hustle as well. But you know what? We come from a generation where, you took woodworking, or you took automotive, or you took all these classes in school, trades, right? And you could go out, and a lot of kids that I knew, my friends, all love working on cars, or they like building stuff. A lot of them went into those industries and do quite well to this day.
Yeah.
Then there's a gap from our generation in between till maybe now, my kids, so to speak, where they're told those jobs aren't good enough.
Really?
Those jobs you don't want to be. So they've pulled a lot of that from a lot of the curriculums. A lot of public schools don't have the automotive classes anymore. My school that I grew up in doesn't have that. They don't have any of that stuff. So I feel like the kids are being told, like, don't do that job. That's not, you're above that. You should be doing this type of, finance or whatever. And those trade jobs have gone to the wayside.
Which is unfortunate because, if you're really good at one of those trades, whether it's carpentry, woodwork, mechanic, it's a job that's always going to be needed. Even with the automotive industry going from gas to electric,
somebody's still got to build.
You still got to, you got to build it, you got to repair it. Window glass has to come out.
Right.
Bumpers have to get changed out. All these things are very.
Although with the robots coming down the road,
Well, again, AI is here right now.
Yeah.
We're living in an interesting, super fast paced part of our lives, because when we were in the 70s, the 80s, and even in the early 90s, things happened.
We thought we were clipping along, but now
it's like you blink an eye and something massively new is there.
Yeah.
And you have to move with the times.
Right.
Not easy. 45 years old, and everything that I'm doing with the podcast and with the Life Choices company is all about learning the newest application, the newest software. And it's daunting at times.
Yeah.
I have to put myself in what I call uncomfortable situations in order to become better at something that your children would just kind of know real quickly because they grew up with it.
My 21-year-old is pretty quick with anything audio and technical and stuff like that. I don't think he could do this, but he could figure this out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's already in the realm of things he does on his computer. You know, he's just not in the podcast mentality. I don't even know if he listens to any. He might listen to a couple, but but the other thing with the jobs is those jobs, like the jobs we do, they're hard work.
They are.
They're laboring jobs.
Yeah.
They're physical, they're mental, they're emotional. There's hard timelines on them. There's a lot that goes on. And even for my boys, I kick them in the butt once in a while, but they want to work hard, but then they don't want to work hard.
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think every generation has said this, and they always say, oh, the generation now. I'm sure our parents said it about us. Their parents said it about them. The general consensus out there right now is the generation now wants to get paid for not doing any work.
Less, right, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to me, because we grew up in a time where you would understand to work harder for less in order to get paid more for working less.
Yeah.
Overtime. We do a stage. We work under someone for free for basically food and education for a period of time where, you're scraping. Well, you had mentioned the other day, you live with a bunch of people sharing rent. And then the story, maybe you can share it again, about the back in the day, the McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. So this is when I lived in San Diego, and I had moved from Boston, and I worked with Four Seasons at the time, great hotel company, brand. And this was my first sous chef job. They would move me over, transfer me over there. I was a lead up in Boston, where it was my first job at Four Seasons. And I lived with this girl who was a manager, had moved over there. She become a really good friend of mine over a couple of years, and there was nothing between us romantically or anything. So we had this great working relationship. Anyway, she found a 1-bedroom with a loft, and I used the loft just to try to save money because I wasn't far enough ahead yet. But one of the things we used to do to save money was, I was telling you, every Wednesday McDonald's had 20 cheeseburgers for $5, and it was like a Wednesday special. And at the time, I didn't even have a car. I was riding my bicycle to work, everywhere. I was doing all my grocery shopping on my bicycle. I was trying to save every penny that I could. And I used to go over there and on my bicycle, sometimes at the drive-thru, if nobody was in line, or I'd go inside, get my 20 cheeseburgers, go back home, probably eat 2 or 3 of them, and then refrigerate the rest, maybe even freeze a couple if I wasn't going to get through them in a couple days. But yeah.
Food for a few days for $5 because you had to.
Yeah, not the best food in the world. But, when I went to the hotel and worked, I was able to have some nutrition.
Absolutely.
I didn't have to eat in the cafeteria, although the cafeteria in Four Seasons is very good for the employees. But I could skip that break, so to speak, and just make something on the line, something that's pertaining to the restaurant. The chefs like to see you exploring the dishes anyways, and really keeping yourself, not just cooking them and putting them out, but keeping that flavor profile in your mouth. So I was able to get a steak or something at night, a piece of chicken and whatever. It's because those hamburgers, man, for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, I mean, it gets tiring. I mean, I've done the bread and butter diet in my early 20s because, I moved out of my parents' house at 19, and I'm pretty sure that my mom facilitated the situation because I dropped out of college and I was just working at a restaurant. And then my middle brother, Steven, hit me up close to my birthday in December and was like, hey, would you if I can get you a job, would you want to move up here? And I mean, I was 19. I'd lived in my parents' house the whole time. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll move up there. Threw my entire life into a Ford Tempo, which, if anyone knows, it's a 4-door, small, cheap car. And it was back then.
They don't make those anymore, do they?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, but it was the greatest drive of my life.
I remember it.
Yeah, but back then, there was up to between 2 to 5 of us living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So some of us lived in the living room, and even at that, there was bread and butter sometimes, or a McDonald's hamburger was the meal for the day. But when I worked at the restaurant, I back then I didn't have a car either. I would take the public transit.
Right.
I know people that have never even stepped on a public transit, which blows my mind.
That's
In the winter, in the rain, it doesn't matter. You're standing out there. You're fucking cold. You got to walk to the bus stop.
I mean, high school kids are expecting to have a car nowadays.
Yeah, no, I took public transit to school in high school. Yeah. But at the restaurant, I was able to go there, and we had a really good program where the staff got 50% off meals, and it was a steakhouse, so you could sit down and have a proper steak dinner after your shift and pay 50% of what it would be for a regular customer. So a $30 meal is $15. That's all. Yeah. So that's where I ate. I didn't go grocery shopping that often because I had that ability.
That made
and we had a menu, right? So obviously a franchise. Order everything. Well, you could, but I'm saying like a franchise restaurant the menu's the menu. Okay. But they didn't have a problem. Obviously I was one of the cooks. They didn't have a problem if you punched in something and then you made it differently. Okay. And then the managers, when I was just a cook, when I was just cooking, the managers would get a manager meal. So you get a free dinner. And so they would type something in, but then they would be like, hey, Bradley, can you just do something different? Right. Because we've all eaten the same shit every day over. Yeah. So that was kind of the fun flair for me for being creative, which was nice. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, we are in a really weird time right now. And it's hard for myself, because I have different beliefs in the world, it's hard for my brain to wrap around everything that's going on, and I'm a big person that kind of wants to yell out bullshit on most of it.
I think all of us in this generation kind of are like that one way or another. I mean, there might be a few that are really bought into it and understand it, but I'm the same. I kind of want to call bullshit. This is all going to blow up in everybody's faces, and we have to go back to what we know, but... Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, like you said, there are a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with this, that grow up, go to school, go to secondary school, get a degree in something, get a job, get married, 2.5 kids, fence, all that sort of stuff, and they live their life very, very content, very happy. They have
their Truman Show.
Yeah, they have their money coming in every week, every month. They pay their bills, they pay their mortgage, they have fun things to do on the weekends. They go boating, they work in their garage, whatever. Yep. I just can't wrap my head around what we've been told, and I find it interesting because we obviously did not think this way growing up, right? We were just kind of carefree, having fun, working in kitchens, having a great time with our coworkers, and now all of a sudden we kind of question everything. Oh yeah. And we don't really know. I would say it's hard to find the answers because they don't want you to even ask the questions. Right. And that's what I think we need to do more nowadays than anything is not for ourselves, but for the generations younger than us and the newer generations that are coming up, is question what the status quo is.
There's a fear to ask questions. So, for us to ask a question, who am I going to ask? I'm going to ask some friends, family, whatever, here and there. And it's going to be discussed, right? Right. Nothing will really come to a solution. Now, going up the political ladder to your governors or whatever, you start raising comments or concerns in front of a group, what happens afterwards? Do you get blackballed in some way? Are you touching on something that
is sensitive and may affect other people's wealth? Right. It's true as tested, I guess you would say. You see the movies that we grew up with where you have the person who is basically getting blackballed or being destroyed through media, but they're actually the ones that have the truth. Yeah. But yet put it in a grand scale of reality of life, when people do this, it absolutely is. The stronger you are about your points, if it's affecting people above you that are going to lose income, they want to destroy you, and they have the ability to do so. Yeah. I mean, Ashton Kutcher right now, he's a forefront advocate for all this.
He is, because he's blackballed from doing any movies.
Isn't that crazy?
He can't do anything.
It's so weird.
He's not getting hired for anything, so he's out on his own being a rebel.
Yeah. And Mel Gibson, same thing. Mel Gibson being blackballed. But there was a thing I came across which was funny, because he's made so much money that it doesn't matter. He just makes his own shit.
Yeah. And you know what?
Good for him.
Maybe I'm wrong in a lot of ways, but that's just what I'm picking up from our little things. Right?
It's an interpretation that we have based on what we're watching and reading.
And our algorithms are different, right?
Exactly.
So you might see something a little different than what I see. We might see the same podcast or news special, whatever, but you might see something else as well.
We might pick up on a little aspect that the other person doesn't.
Right.
And then you yourself interpret it a certain way.
Right. And our theories go differently, you know, so it's, even with my friends, it's so hard to talk about like what's going on in the world because we're not getting the same information.
And we're not getting the real information.
We're not getting the real information. We're getting what we need to know. Or
we're getting what we're told we should know.
It's like this whole UFO thing. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But when are we going to realize, you know, when are they going to come out and actually, so didn't somebody just say that we actually have like bodies?
I mean,
recently in the last few weeks.
I mean, it's been a conversation since before our parents were around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But now they're like starting to like, why are you telling us this?
Yeah.
Like, why, you know,
you know, my friends around here on the compound, we have these conversations often. It's hard to have conversations like this with a lot of people,
right?
Unless you have an open mind.
Right.
And we kind of have this very open forum when we get into these conversations from time to time here at the compound. And the big thing is like the statement is everything has been shown to us in TV or movies over time to make it become
dull.
So normal, right? So everyday to us that when it does happen in reality, we're okay with it because we've already been little bit by little bit shown.
In the movies,
it's
such high level and graphics, that reality isn't reality anymore.
Well, I mean, that's excellent point. And segue into this next topic is reality. What is reality? We are storytellers, every individual, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what we do every day. We live our life according to the stories we receive and the way we interpret it. And then we tell the story of us to other people through actions, through words.
Right.
And being a storyteller, and this hopefully will help, you know, like your kids, is understanding that your story is not written. It is up to you to write it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like your story right now, change it.
Change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the opportunities that are out, if you want something more in your life, you have every ability to change it. And so many people just get stuck. And I look at my kids, and that's also one of my biggest fears, that they just become complacent with what they've ended up doing, and they don't choose to do better for themselves. And they know what they want. You know, for me, I love cooking. I love traveling. I'm in a position now that affords me that. I travel for work extensively, so I get to enjoy the world through work, which is a blessing. The cooking part, we're always telling a story. Yeah. Right. I can make a steak for 5 different people, and it's a different story every time. You know, there's some other inspiration for that person why I'm cooking for them. So I don't need to change. Do I look for side hustles? For sure.
Why not?
Yeah. A couple extra dollars in the pocket never hurts, right? Yeah. But I worry about the kids and that they don't change, like you said. Like if you want something more.
I mean, I didn't change well, I shouldn't say it. I changed a few times in my life while I was going through the journey to get me to where I am now.
Right.
I did a big leap of faith at 19, moving out of my parents' house, only 5 hours northeast from where they were, and lived somewhere else for 11 years. I took another leap of faith and left that and got into the yachting community where, I've been doing that. I'm starting my 16th year in yachting. During that time, I took another leap where I quit everything and I took a trip around the world by myself, which was like the best educator I've ever done.
You told me that. Season 1.
Yeah.
Watch season 1.
Season 1 with Daryle Moiles. But that was like the biggest life-changing thing for me. The person I became after that trip, I've been holding on to a little bit of him, ever since then. Sure. Unfortunately, you lose a bit of it because you go back to the reality of the world of working. I want to say I had a level of complacency or laziness because the whole time I was just working as a cook in this restaurant, as a cook in that restaurant, as a cook on a boat. But I wasn't really I was very fine with the everyday. I was fine with just going to work and doing that and having that extra.
You had what you needed.
Well, yeah, actually I had more than what I needed. I thought about this last night while I was taking a shit, honestly. Because here I am creating a company out of thin air.
We should do this sitting on toilets then.
Right? Oh, I bet you someone out there does a podcast sitting on toilets, and I'm probably 100,000 viewers for sure, right? It's actually not a bad idea.
$10 a month subscription.
But the viewers that have been, I call my subscription base lifers, people that have been here from the beginning. Yeah. And they know what I've done for a career as a yacht chef, and I got paid really, really well. Before I had, when my dad was alive, I wasn't paying for my mom's bills. I had my own bills and that's it. And I was living on a boat, so I didn't have like rent or anything like that. And I had a large paycheck, and I drove a fancy car. I actually eventually rented a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house on the lake by myself. And I never had to say no to anything. I had all this money, right? And life was good. Yeah. So I was complacent, but in like a good feeling spot. And stuff happened where I was just like, well, no, I want more. But it didn't happen until I was late 30s. Yeah. Like honestly, probably almost close to when I was 40. And then I was like, well, fuck no, this is not good for me. I don't want to just get by, even though I had extra cash to go on trips and go to the bar and buy whatever I wanted clothing wise. I was like, no, fuck, I need more in my life. I need more purpose.
So what you had was starting to get boring. It wasn't enough anymore.
Yeah. Well, not just it was get boring, but it also something happened which made me realize I can't count on being an employee anymore. Yeah. I need to become an employer. Right. And now here I am building a company where all of my dollars go into it. I'm very grateful I get to take care of my mother because, we lost my dad 5 years ago, almost 6 now. And I'm so happy and so fortunate that I have the ability to do that. And and now that I don't have anyone working with me for the company. So there's no outgoing money on that. It's literally just my bills and her bills. And the jobs that I have obviously pay more than that. So I'm not of financial abundance, but I'm not without. You know what I'm saying?
Same, yeah.
But I wanted more, and I wanted to have more purpose. I wanted to do something that meant more while I'm on the rock. Yeah. And even more so once I'm gone, it still means something to people.
Yeah. When I go, most likely, maybe for a couple of years, people remember me, but in general, down the road, like my name is not going to be an impact. And I always wonder about, do I have something more to offer that can give me some sort of legacy to make my small time here on the rock memorable to people down the road?
Well, I think you do. And, our friendship has bloomed over a short period of time. And this is the 3rd time we've talked in this arena. 2nd time recorded. Yeah.
Well, 3rd time recorded.
I think that if you just continue doing what you're doing and do these podcasts with as many other people that you can, your words of experience and your words of wisdom will carry on, because there will be someone out there that will watch a podcast that you're on, take to heart what you've said, and very well live their life, or they'll be living their life and change direction because of something you have shared. Yeah. And I think that's what's important. So even though you say you're in the background, I think you're not, because amongst your community of friends, amongst anyone that watches you on any podcast that you've gone on, you're a calm demeanor individual. You are forthcoming with your experiences in life, your family, your kids, routines that you do every day. Like, again, we have that similarity where we wake up early. Yep. We made the joke the other day, like when I know that I can hit you up
5 in the morning.
Yeah, I know I can hit you up, and whether you wait till after the sun finishes rising, I know you've gotten that message because you are also awake at that time. Yeah. So I think you will be. All of us will only be remembered for as long as we'll be remembered, for sure, based on what we do. I agree with you on that. I wrote a book, so possibly maybe I an extra year, maybe I'm remembered. Yeah.
It'll still be on the shelf somewhere
on someone's house, maybe given to some kid one day. But the thing is as long as we are trying to do good for other people, I think something will still be there. Something about us will still be there for others.
Yeah. But that's all I'm saying is like something that is, what do you leave behind this world? Were you just here for a moment and you're gone? Like I think a lot of the civilization is. Like we just move on to another whatever. And only a few leave something that lasts for a long period of time. And hopefully it benefits people. Robert has his foundation, the Robert Irvine Foundation. Right. And, usually around the holidays or my birthday, I'll ask for, I don't want presents, just, throw $10 to Robert, for the military people. And, that foundation will live for a long time.
Much longer after the person's gone, because somebody will be, somebody will be put into place to oversee it.
We have a board that runs it. Robert is obviously, number one on the board, and there's a whole group of people. But even the president of the foundation and the team that runs it, it's self-sustaining. Robert does a lot of work with multiple businesses and things that covers the administrative costs and things like that. So
sounds like he's just a wonderful human being. I see your admiration for him because you speak very openly about him, about a lot of stuff that he does. With the fact that, like, you're a traveling chef for a large, I want to say corporation, because Robert Irvine is in itself a corporation, I would have to assume. Yeah. And you travel with a group of different people, or like you said, sometimes you're going somewhere first and then other people show up and everyone has their aspect of it. Prominently men, or there are some women on the team as well?
We have some women on the team, not so much in the chef realm of it, but as far as the other, we have a good group of girls that are in the sales, things like that, fitness.
So when you're doing all this traveling, and I was asking for a specific reason, because a big topic I want to start touching on is men and how they deal with life, and how they have the ability to open up, or how some don't have the ability to open up. And because you're like everyone out there listens to what we say about how we travel, and probably are like, oh wow, I want to do what they do. He's a yacht chef, he's always traveling, or I want to do what he does, he's a traveling chef for a well-known chef. And it's like, yeah, that's the highlight, that's the fun of it. But you're constantly traveling. You're not home as often as you would like. It's a demanding role, because being a cook has its stresses and its anxieties. Lots and lots of travel. As much as I love always living out of a bag, like I really do love it, but it wears on your soul as well.
Everything, yeah.
The men that you travel with, when you have time, what are those conversations like? Do you guys have like those friendships as well as the business aspect of it?
So we have a unique group of people that is a family, and Robert has a once a year retreat beginning of the year. We kind of touch on last year, and each division presents kind of what they achieved over the last year, or any struggles they might have had, and they also give a 5-10 minute spiel about what to look forward this year. And it's a 1-day retreat. We're there for 3 days because we do team building and stuff, but it's a 1-day classroom. Everybody's got something to say, talk about what you do. In that group, we've had people from outside come in that wanted to be part of something with us, some sort of venture, and they get to listen to these meetings, and every single time they walk away saying, like, we're a unique group of people that are more friends than coworkers, because in the meetings you can have debates and nobody gets butthurt, nobody feels like their spot's being threatened or the job's being whatever. It's like you and your buddy just arguing and then having a beer afterwards, right?
It's a conversation between people.
Right, and you put it on the table and that's it. There's no hurt feelings or whatever. But when I'm on the road and Robert's amazing. Try to spend time with him. He always wants you there. But sometimes I choose to walk away. Like, I've always had this thing, because I worked at Four Seasons, that you don't dip too far into like your higher, the higher command. I've been to Robert's house 50 times, spent the night. We've done virtual, dinners, cooking demonstrations and stuff like that from his house. We've done other projects from his house, and I hang out, and I've gotten to know him really on a good personal level. But when I'm out in public, I don't want to be sitting in a bar drinking with him all night long. I just think it's not the perception that people should see. We'll have a couple. And then he's an early guy too. Like he gets up early like we do, and he likes to be in bed by like 10:30. No, I have our COO. We've had a bromance, so to speak, and we've done things together that I haven't really done with other people, like meeting in a certain spot and just, like we went to Vegas once. We hit a couple shows. We had dinner together. We hung out all night. We got stoned, the whole thing, and just really just hung out and had a good time, and we get along really well. And then we went back to our separate lives, and we worked together a lot.
To have a good group of guys that you have a certain bond with, so that when you're out traveling and life might get at you, sometimes you have people you can hang out with, whether you talk to them about the problem or not. You can do something that kind of deflates.
There is one guy on the team, Shane, he's the other chef. He and I are like brothers now. We've been together for 9 years, and I want to say in the first 2 or 3 years, we had a great relationship. But around year 4 or 5, we really started confiding in each other. We had kids the same age, going through the same problems, starting to sample weed, in their early teens, or starting to do this, or, tried to steal the car because he's 14, and thought he could drive. Like, we've had similar things with our children. And to this day now, he and I will literally sit down and just, I'll tell him my problems before I tell family.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I got this going on with my health, or I got this going on with a relationship, or I got this going on. I don't know what to do. And we kind of vent to each other. And he does the same with me. He'll call, he's married. He's got 4 kids. They're all grown now. They're all out of the house, but he'll be like, oh, so-and-so did this at the college. And now I got to, fix that. And we talk through everything. And I think he comes to me. I mean, he goes to his wife for everything, but I think he comes to me and sounds it out and then goes to his wife.
Oh, from male's perspective in the same situation, to make sure that what he's thinking or feeling is sound. Okay, let me bounce this off of you, so I don't think I'm being a complete idiot about something, because when I give it the information to my wife or my significant other, I want to make sure that I have validation in what I'm saying. Yeah. The reason why I brought that up is because it's a very important topic that, the stigma that men have out there, where we're not allowed to, be a man, be a softer man, or you're too soft. Oh, you're not manly enough. Right. It's a conundrum right now going on in the world, but I think it's very important that we talk about this and show everyone else that established men have no problem doing that, and how important it is to have someone, that you can bounce those feelings or ideas off of.
Right. I think there is a lot out there about masculinity and being too soft or too hard or whatever. And if you're a little too hard for somebody, you're toxic masculine, right? And that, for me, that's just not a reality. Like, we're male, we're masculine, period. Yeah. It's not the word masculine. Yeah, it's not toxic because it doesn't fit into your life. It's not what you want at that moment, because it works 99% of the other time, right? And that's just who we are. And I think it is hard to open up with other guys. One of the greatest events that we do is it's for TAPS, which is the Tragedy Assistant Program for Survivors. That's what the TAPS acronym spells. And the woman that runs this is just a truly incredible woman. And what they've done for people who have lost loved ones is amazing. But 2 years ago, we had a group of 35 men that came to Robert's Restaurant in Las Vegas to do the whole weekend for TAPS. They take them to shows, and they go see the memorials. They go do a lot of stuff, right, to bring these people together. They've all lost somebody. It could be a brother or sister. It could be a child, a daughter, a son. It could be somebody that was very close to them. It could be a teenage kid that lost his brother, an older brother. Okay. And, looked up to his older brother and everything. These people going through such hard times. So anyways, it's always a mix of men and women and kids. And they accomplish a lot with these people. Well, the Bonnie, the creator of TAPS, the founder of it, decided that she would do a group of men only. And who better to put him with than Robert Irvine, one of the more masculine men, physical, was in the military, lives by a code, very disciplined. And that's what these guys are. Well, Bonnie came to that one. She usually goes to all of them. But she came to that one with high hopes of seeing that the guys would open up more. And man, did they. The first day they're all, because when they're with their wife or they're with their daughter or son, they might open up and talk about who they lost, but they're not opening up. Right. These 35 guys together, when we did the sit-down dinner on the Saturday night and they still had a Sunday to do some things with, they've been there for 2 days already. That dinner, that 2-hour dinner took 4 hours. Wow. Because everybody just started talking and crying. And it became super emotional, and they let it all out. And I mean, I was in tears that night just listening to the stuff. It was incredible what they were divulging. And Bonnie, the founder of TAPS, was basically explaining like that was just
amazing.
to get these people. And there's also a therapist there or a couple, depending on who's coming, just in case somebody needs to be pulled and
really talk
and talk to. And okay, now we've got what's going on in that guy's head or that.
Well, that's an amazing organization. I'm going to want you to write down their info so we can put it down below here in the information, because that's something I think that would help many people.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. And it's all for Gold Star families, you know, and just those people, you know, it's not, if my son chose to go to the military and he lost his life, he made that choice. There's nothing I can do about it. So that hurt is different. It's not like something I could say you're not going or you're staying. That's his choice as an adult. So these people have lost something so special to them, and they have nothing that they can do about it, you know, or could have done about it, you know. So those Gold Star families go through so much more than what, you know, what we even think about. You know, you walk down the street, you don't even realize how many people probably have somebody in the military that's in their family. You know?
and or have lost.
And have lost, and you don't know this and what they're struggling through, and that's part of the problem nowadays. Like
I've started this thing lately when I meet someone or when I like go into a store and I say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh, I'm good, thanks. And I'm like, no. How are you doing today?
Yeah.
And that second repeat of that question, they're like, oh, fuck, this person's actually asking me a question.
Right, yeah.
Because regardless what I might do the rest of my day, that person's day is now different.
Yeah.
And it's factual. Everyone is going through shit. There's not a human being on this rock that isn't going through their shit.
Right. Whether
it's a good day or a bad day, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And if we had a bit more mindfulness to actually put ourselves in the other person's shoes, it would make a world of difference. And small acts of kindness over long periods of time will change this world. I don't care if someone thinks I'm a fucking idiot for saying that.
No, you're right.
It's true. I'd never lived like that. Now I do. And I notice that more positive things come towards me because I'm making an effort to try to put a smile on someone's face. A complete stranger.
Yep. You know, Robert, we finish all of our meals, you know, our cooking demos or our big dinners that we do, anything that's not TV, all of our other events and stuff like that. You know, and obviously Robert's a celebrity and they want to hear from him, and he closes out a lot of the events and thank you for coming, and you know, answers questions first and all that stuff. And his last comment, and I've loved this since day one that I've joined him, is you know, before we all leave today, you know, there's 5,000 people here in this auditorium, and I'm going to sign every autograph and take every picture until the last person's gone home, and I'll answer any questions. We could be here all night. I don't care. That's my gift to you. But what I want from you is that if you're in line in a grocery store and you see somebody that has to move something off, they're paying for their bulk groceries, but they moved one or two things off because it's a little over their budget, buy it for them. It's $20 out of your pocket.
That's it.
If you see somebody that's waiting to cross the street but can't quite navigate, help them across the street. Don't just watch them and walk by and they're standing there forever. If you can help somebody at any point of the day, take that 2 minutes and stop and do it, you know? So he goes through a little spiel of those things, and he's like, that's all I'm asking for you. This week, if you have one opportunity to help somebody, do it.
Absolutely. There's a gentleman, I shop quite a lot for the yachts on Palm Beach Island, and there's a gentleman there. He's worked there forever. I've been going there for over 10 years, and he's always been there. He was a bagger, now he's a cashier.
Right.
His name's George, super tall dude. And I was at Target the other day, and he just happened to be in front of me. I was like, hey, George, how you doing? And quick little chit chat. And listen, I'm not in the most amazing financial situation, but I do know that I have more than others on some days. And he had 2 jugs, you know, that he was buying. Like, I don't know if it was like a jug of Tide or whatever. Right? It's 2 fucking jugs. I didn't even think in my head how much it cost. I put my stuff on the conveyor belt, and I told the cashier, I was like, do me a favor, just add mine to his. And I got his today.
Oh, that's cool.
He was so thankful.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Little acts of kindness.
Yeah. And he's the kindest man I know. Like, he's a shit talker at work with his coworkers, which I love. There's always like some kind of like funny little thing going on with somebody. But he just deserves good things.
Yeah.
And that was a very small thing out of my pocket to probably make him feel really, really good that day.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why more people don't do it. I understand like it's a financial thing.
Yeah.
But listen, $20,
Yeah.
It's not going to prevent me from paying my rent. And it made me feel good doing it.
You know, it's been a while since I've done something like that in a store. You know, I've done something similar where I have seen somebody struggling a little bit, and I've helped out. I never just picked up, like, let me take theirs too, because they only had a couple things, you know. I might try that and see how it is. What bothers me is, like, how it's become a publicity stunt to get followers. And,
Dude, thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. So right now there's like 3 or 4 people that I see regularly on TikTok or probably TikTok on that, or on Reels on Instagram.
I think it's Reels I mostly watch.
Yeah, and it's like they're they're giving money, or they're giving like little notes, which I love the idea of what they're doing.
Right.
So here's the funny thing. It's so funny that you brought this up. What I do, okay, because obviously I'm in the social media world in podcasting, and I'm trying to figure out how to get more followers and whatnot. But unfortunately, I have a different train of thought where I want everything organically to happen, and I don't want to be gimmicky.
Right.
So those people, I see it, and it does bother me a little bit because they have everything set up. The camera's set up somewhere, and they're doing this, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views and followers. This is what I do. If me and TJ are out, whatever, and we're at like Walmart, and you know, $20 is going to help someone else. Like, I got that for you. And I have no camera set up. I'm not asking my boy TJ to hold my iPhone and be, hey, dude, get this on camera. No, I just like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, get that for you, you know. And they're like, well, like, why?
Yeah.
This is my response. I am you, just in a different story.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I walk away.
Great.
I walk away.
Yep.
That's it. Nothing else has to be said.
Nope.
And I know that by doing that, by doing those acts of kindness, the greater universe is going to reward me later on down the line by giving me what I need when I need it, not when I want it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that, you know, people are using it.
They're monetizing.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to make it their career. Look, I'm giving back, but you're not really giving back.
You're not. You're doing it specifically to get 100,000 followers. Stay true to you. Be kind to others. Try not to make it seem disgenuine, I guess.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
No, it is a word, disgenuine. There was this one recently that I watched, and it was on Reels, and it was a woman cleaning up a beach. And she must have had multiple cameras staged, because as she went along, I mean, she's obviously edited this little clip that she did, because it's different areas of the beach, and she's carrying her little bag and her little tong things, and she had some oversized gloves on her hand, stuff like that. And she's like, it was like 2 minutes long. She's like picking up, and she gets like a quarter of this little trash bag, kind of with some stuff in it. She literally, so there was another person videoing, like somebody else watching this whole thing, not with her. And somebody picked up on it and then found that as well, that was posted, and then put it together, and like, this is the real story.
Oh, damn.
Basically, she left the trash bag on the
beach.
My
God.
She took her a couple selfies. She did her talking through her thing. You don't hear what she says of this, did this, and then she just put it down and walked away, you know, and that was it.
Wow.
It was just like...
And I bet you that guy posted his real version of it and probably got a shit ton of views.
He's got, he went viral.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Good
cool,
for him.
Cool watching somebody like call somebody out, because she literally was, she was in a cute bikini. She was picking up, this is my beach that I go to, you know, like, I got to keep it clean, but she wasn't really. She was just doing it for...
Unfortunately, we live in a very fake world.
Oh, yeah.
We've known that for a period of time because we don't believe like big media and whatnot. And now with social media, I won't say most. There's a fair portion of what's out there which is bullshit and fake. It's literally just people trying to make money and whatever. And those of us that are trying to do something a bit more genuine, a bit more helpful, you know, it takes us way longer to kind of climb up the mountain.
Yeah.
On that whole thing is, you know, you mentioned Robert is quite a big celebrity, which he is. I mean, I've watched him for years growing up on you know, the different shows that he's done. I've seen him and his wife be a guest on other shows, which is like awesome.
And his wife is amazing in her career.
I'm
you know,
sure.
She was a pro wrestler. You know, like, they're both alpha, like, very
driven
and disciplined people.
Well, I was going to say earlier, like, you can tell, like, when you see Robert Irvine, you know the motherfucker is disciplined, because you don't get a physique like that by sitting at home doing nothing. That's a daily occurrence of eating right and mentally preparing and physically doing.
Yep. And this is what I have to do when I get up.
Absolutely. It's not, I don't care if I feel like shit today. I don't care if I'm depressed. I don't care if I don't want to get out of bed. I'm going to go do these things.
That dozen donuts looks real good. No, I'm not going to eat it.
And with that in mind, this is what my next point is I have a hard time oohing and awing about a celebrity.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at them in that, like, so the industry I'm in, I work for the 1% of the 1%. A lot of these yachts have individuals come on them who are of a status of visibility because of what they do in a living. But I look at them as a human being that is no different than me.
Right.
They just went after what they were passionate and driven to do earlier and for longer. So for me, I'm not oohing and awing them. Like, I don't give a shit that you are of a celebrity. What I give a shit about is, how did you do it?
Right.
What was it that you implemented in your life at what time for how long to get you to that level of success?
Right.
Because that's what I want to be. I want to be your sponge. I want to learn from you what to do. I want to eventually be on the bigger screen. Obviously, the podcast will always be there. I want to be on bigger screens. I want to be on different shows and whatnot. But to be on those shows with those quote unquote celebrities, I want to be near them so I can find out about how they became great business people.
Yeah.
And I think if people stop putting celebrities on pedestals and realize that you're no different than them, stop thinking, oh my God, it's so nice for them and it's so easy for them. No, it was hard as fuck for them because they had to grind, they had to dig, they had to fucking every day to get themselves there. You can do it.
I look at like a Mark Wahlberg that came from nothing with a lot of brothers and living in that house in Boston. And with his brothers accomplished so much, right? You do have some people like the Kardashians who came from money, and they'll talk about how hard their lives were. But you had every opportunity.
You had an ability to live through life a little easier.
Yeah, you had opportunities that the rest of us don't get afforded unless we really find a way to make it happen. But you know, I'm not a big star-struck guy, and with Robert, we're always with somebody, whether it's a professional athlete or an actor or a singer or whatever. We have a lot of these things that happen. And other Food Network stars that I don't really, you know, I love them all.
Yeah, the network of people due to
Shelley, Guy Fieri, they're all great people. Yeah. They're all fun, right? When you're with them, it's not what you see on TV.
Right.
You know, there is some of that carries over, but they are who they are, right? They're all great people, and they're all trying to do things for the better of the industries and things like that. But there's one guy that I met, Rob Gronkowski, New England Patriots, tight end. You know, I'm a Patriot guy anyways. But anyways, this is in 2019, right before the pandemic got announced, basically. This was, it was April. And I think in May is when they started doing all the shutdown stuff, right? We're at the Ritz-Carlton in D.C., and we're doing a military tribute dinner for about 1,000 people. And Rob Gronkowski and what's his name there? God, he's got a TV show he's got like 4 beautiful blonde daughters. Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, Terry Bradshaw. Okay, old school.
So Terry's there. You know, just a boatload of laughs, that guy. Rob's there. They're pairing off each other. But you also had like General Milley and some of the big stars, right, from the Pentagon, DC, and all that stuff. And unbeknownst to me, the 12 Horsemen were there. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's depicted in a very real way. And was it Chris Hemsworth is the star, but it's the story about the 12 people that went in after the 9/11 raid. And basically, they called the 12 Horsemen because they had to do everything on horseback through Afghanistan and stuff like that. So it's a great movie, but these guys were there. And one guy was up on stage talking about the movie, and they played a little clip, and then the clip, you know, the lights came back on. All of them were standing up there in their black suits and their black ties and their black beards and ultra tan. And they're all retired now, but they're all like, you just looked at that stage and be like, that's what's in our military, I feel pretty freaking good right now. Because they're intimidating, right? Yeah. And they came out with only one person hurt, but nobody lost. You know, and they went up against militias and stuff like that, and they had a partner with some tribes and stuff like that over there. But anyways, during that video when the lights were off, Rob, I'm standing against the wall by the kitchen, just kind of watching, and Rob gets up and comes over and he stands next to me, and I'm like, fuck, dude, Gronkowski's standing right next to me. How cool is this, right? And he's like 6'7". Like, the guy's huge. I'm 6'2", and I'm 240, 250, whatever. I was dwarfed.
Right.
Standing next to him, and it was just awesome. Lights go on, they start doing their thing. He looks over to me, kind of taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, you're with Robert, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I saw you earlier." You know, Robert got to know him too, and Robert was sitting at the table with him. And he's like, "I can't be out there anymore." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong?" He's like, I know, like everybody knows who I am from being, you know, in the Patriots and winning Super Bowls, but he's like, this room, like they're happy to see me. I'm like, I don't know what to say to these people. They've all done amazing. Like they're what they are. I'm nothing is basically how we left it.
Humility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't sit out there anymore. I'm like, you got to. That's why you're here, bro. You're, you know, they do what they do so you can do what you do. And in return, your entertainment, so to speak, and your athleticism gives back to them when they're on these.
Absolutely. They lean into that to ease the pain of what they're going through, for sure.
But seeing Rob actually with that humility, you know, just kind of like...
Again, it just proves the point. Like, a celebrity is a celebrity, that's great, but they're just human, and what you can accomplish in your life can actually be... The Gronk could be looking at you being like, holy shit, you're my celebrity.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So don't cut yourself short just because you think they're on TV or whatever, that they're so special.
They're just, and I guess what I was getting to is he was just like me. Yeah. Just a regular guy, didn't deserve to be there with these people. Like, they've protected us, and like, there was generations of special forces in this event.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
Generations. And we both just sat there like, I've never been in the military. I'll do whatever I can to like help support them, but I've never served.
Right.
And we both just felt like regular dudes.
Yep. And you are, and that's the whole point is like every celebrity, every person of fame, every person in that kind of genre of life is just a normal person who has dedicated their life to something that they love, and they've gone after it in a way in which they took there was never a no for an answer. It was just, I'm going to get this done. And people need to realize that they got to put that, they have to instill that discipline in themselves in order to get them to the level of success that they admire in other people.
Yeah, you know, Robert tells people when they ask him, he's like, you got to be able to overcome your fear, which is discipline. If you're not disciplined, fear will always run your life. You know, if you are disciplined and you have a regimen, you will say, okay, that's something I have to overcome to get to the next. And you build it in, and it becomes part of your thing. And Robert recently released a book 6 months ago, I think. I don't even remember. More, not a cookbook. It's more about business. But one of the things in there that he talks about, the best thing he ever did was doing his own thing. You know, he worked in... Taj Mahal and Trump Towers back in the day when he first came to the States. He was an exec chef. You know, Donald Trump was in that building. And, you know, Robert was reporting to him as the exec chef, you know, whenever they had meetings, whatever. And, you know, Robert pitched Food Network, basically got away from the corporate whatever, worked his ass off for years, you know, with no money. You know, we laugh about some of the... And he's like, oh, when I did this show first starting off, I got like $200 an episode. Yeah. You know, because I was a nobody, right?
Absolutely.
It's different now, right? So
1,000%.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, but he talks about how hard it was and how you couldn't have a job because your road life required so much. And there's so many different things. And he's learned, to this day, he'll tell you he learns every year.
Every day.
Every day. But every year he learns a lot more about business and what to do, what not to do. You know, things that you think a guy at his age with his experience would already know.
Or wouldn't even need.
Or wouldn't need, yeah, because you should have people around you guiding you in those things. And he has a few.
Yeah.
But he always says the best thing he ever did was go on his own, work for himself.
Absolutely. I think it empowers a person once you start doing it. You have to realize it's going to be a struggle and you're going to be alone and there's going to be days of doubt, but you just keep going.
You have ownership of it.
Absolutely. And you have to learn every day, otherwise you're not going to grow as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Darryl, I want to thank you once again for coming by the Life Choices podcast.
Time goes quicker here.
It goes really fast. It's over an hour already. We're chatting, and I know we could sit for 10 hours, no problem. We'll do this again.
That would be a lot of editing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're capping it at 1:15.
Yeah.
But definitely as the years go by, I want you to be a regular on the Life Choices podcast as we grow it and as we develop and become something bigger. I definitely kind of want to maybe even find some time where when you're traveling, I might hop on a plane and join you somewhere and kind of just shadow behind you to kind of get a good vibe as to what you do on a regular basis. I think it would be fun for me. And I think it would be fun for our viewership to kind of get to see a little bit more about who our guests are. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming today. I appreciate it.
Could you take this on the road a little bit? Or
so I'm actually already doing the research for the mobile podcast equipment,
right?
Because yes, I am going to be taking this on the road eventually. Cool. Some of my connections through the yachting industry, like past guests and whatnot, I want to go to their towns and kind of have the chat with them. So it would be a smaller unit than this. It's a rectangle thing that the mics would go into. I wouldn't have the boom arms. I'd have just a tabletop mic,
right?
And then I can just bring my camera, my tripod, and my light, and just make it work. Yeah. So that's the plan for the future.
Excellent.
For all you lifers out there that have been with us from the beginning, I want to thank you very much for coming by each and every week here, Tuesdays at 2. For all of you new joiners, thank you very much. Feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share. You can hit the bell to get notified when we're putting up our new episodes or any other content that we're doing. Down below is the information, once again, to contact Darryl if you have questions about the food industry or traveling as a chef. Also, the organization we had talked about, TAPS, is also down here. And if you want to be a guest on the show, you can send me an email through our information down below. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming out every single week. I see the subscription base growing every single day, so I want to thank you all for doing that. Tell a friend, please, and I'll see you next week here on the Lyfe Choyces podcast. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choyces podcast.